Welcome back to the GreenLight Investor for the week ending December 4th, 2015. Our goal at the GreenLight Investor is to provide a unique resource to help make managing your 401k both a simple and easy process. We do this with a simple worksheet that uses red, green, and yellow cells to help you decide when to buy, what to buy, and when to sell. This presentation is for educational purposes only and should not be taken as personal investment advice. The examples I'll show are exactly that. They're examples of how you can use this worksheet in addition to your regular resources to help you make investment choices within your 401k plan. Please refer to your own investment policy to make sure that the choices you make are appropriate for both your investment time horizon as well as your understanding and acceptance for taking risk in financial markets. All right, with that said, let's go ahead and go right into our worksheet and see what we've got for this week. On the left side of our worksheet, we break it down. We'll show the investment choices available to you in your 401k plan. The different column headings include the fund number, the symbol for the fund name, and a brief description of what the fund is. We break this down into different categories. We have the core investments at the top. These are the index funds. And on any of these funds, if you want to reach a little bit deeper into the research, you can click on the hyperlink and it will take you to an outside resource to dig a little deeper into any of the funds if you want to do some additional research. All right, we have the core investments at the top, which are the index funds. Then we go into the satellite funds, which start out with the more conservative funds at the top, which include the money market, fixed income, the U.S. growth and income. Then we go into our U.S. equity funds, international funds, and at the bottom we have the sector funds. Middle part of the worksheet is where we show the performance for each of the funds, and we update that each week. We'll show the closing price for each fund, the month-to-date return, the quarter-to-date return, and the year-to-date return. This is important so you can keep track of how your funds are doing relative to other funds that are available to you, and in particular, how you're doing against the different funds in the same category as the ones that you have. We like to do this so that you can always stay on top of the strongest funds and avoid staying in the weakest funds for very long. So we'll help you identify which funds are doing the best and which ones are the laggards. And finally, we have the relative strength area, which is the unique part of this. We call it the current weekly trends, and it's focused around the relative strength trend change for each of the funds. Down column V, we'll have red, yellow, and green lights. The green lights are the funds that have performed the strongest on a week-over-week basis, and the red lights are the ones that have performed the weakest on a week-over-week basis. To the right of column V, we have the relative strength trend for each week, and we track it back, going back week over week for the entire year. And what you'll see is when we have a positive trend in any of the funds, you'll see a green light, and you'll see a positive numerical value in that cell. When you have a negative trend for any of the funds, they'll have a red light, and they'll have a negative number or numerical value in the cell. The numerical values are kind of unique because you can see if the funds are getting stronger or weaker depending on whether the numerical values are going up or if they're going down. You also get a nice visual when a fund changes from weak to strong. You'll see the green lights appear to the right of column V, and when a fund goes from strength to weakness, you'll also see that on the week-over-week basis. So there's a lot of information. When you see a lot of red, it's generally a good time to stay away from the markets, or that particular fund at least. And when you see a lot of green, it's generally a really good time to be in the funds, and that's when they're showing some relative strength and moving north. The left side, we have column U, which is the long-term trend. And we always say the three columns that are the most important are the long-term trend of the fund. You want to always stay in the yellow or green, the bullish or neutral areas. and tend to avoid the long-term bearish funds. And then you want to couple that with funds that are green in column W and X. I'd like to see 2 weeks at least of strength to confirm the long-term bullish trend. We have a short and intermediate term, but those are mostly for reference to see if the funds are generally getting weaker or if they're generally getting stronger. And as we scroll down, we'll see that the fixed income, when you scroll over, you can see that we have the fixed income. And what we're seeing is we still have an awful lot of red on the left and the right side, so we're tending to stay away from those right now. The growth in income is showing some strength here, so we may start looking at getting back into the growth in income side of this. We've been staying away because, again, we've seen a lot of red and we're just starting to see the transition back to green, so we're starting to see a little bit of strength come back. The U.S. equities have gotten a little bit of strength. You still see some mix of green and red, but there is more green here than any of the other sections, so this has been the strongest of the funds to be in. But if you look at the year-over-year performance, we're still up under 1% for the year. So it's still, nothing's lighting the world on fire here, so to speak, with the funds. So they're just kind of muddling along, mixing between the red and the green cells. We're seeing the international funds have been very red for quite some time, and we are seeing a little bit of a trend trying to turn green, but we are this week seeing a little bit of red appear again. So again, you're just seeing a very mild trend here, staying very, very neutral on all of these, going from slightly bullish to slightly bearish. And as we scroll down to the sector funds, those have actually been pretty strong performances. We've seen several weeks now of green to the right, and we're seeing the long-term trend column U with quite a bit of green. So those have been some of the stronger funds to be in. Let's go ahead and see how we can take this information and actually use it to make choices within the 401k plan. Let's click over here on the custom views. We'll go over to my allocations, click over here, and we'll have a new part of the worksheet show up down column H, and this is where you can keep track of how your funds are allocated. Please be aware that when you do change funds, you can't do it on this worksheet. This is just a way to keep track of your actual selections. The actual selections have to be made on your company website, so please be aware of that. At the top of this, if you want additional information on suggestions for allocating the assets, we have a questionnaire, and it will help you decide how much you should put in each of the different categories based on your investment time horizon and your ability to take risk in financial markets. And we also have a real simple one-click retirement planner. As things change going into retirement, it's just a snapshot of how you're doing, but it's actually quite comprehensive with just a one-page retirement plan. So please try that out and see if it's helpful. Next, let's go ahead and scroll down and see how our allocations are this week and see if there's any changes we need to make. To start out with, let's slide our slider over so we can see column U, V, and W. We currently have a 5% and 5% allocation to meet our 10% allocation in the index funds. This week we've got a red and a red cell, so I'm going to go ahead and make this change. Let's go ahead and take this, and we're going to go back over to 10% into the U.S. equity funds because we see bullish, and then we have the two green lights. We generally like to stay with the stronger funds, and this has been a little bit stronger. With the red light appearing, there's no reason to stay around. If it turns green again, we may consider going back, but for right now, let's stay with our green lights. And let's scroll down. We have a 10% allocation to the money market. That's in case we see an opportunity that we wanted to put additional resources to work right away. We have the additional 10% there. It's a good, safe place to keep it. We have a 30% allocation to the U.S. equity funds. 20%, we have a green light in the long-term trend and at least two green lights to the right, so there's nothing to do here. We have a 10% allocation to this fund. And again, we're seeing at least two green lights here. We are seeing a little bit of weakness come in, so you're seeing the strength of this come down. And as you can see with the numerical values, we're going from a 3.16 to a 1.42. So we're seeing a little bit of weakness coming in, but it's still green, so we just sit through that, and that's fine. Two funds we're in are the growth index, and we have the blue chip growth that we're currently in for the U.S. equity funds. Let's scroll down to our international selections. We have a 30% allocation. Here we have it all allocated into one fund, which is fine because we have a GreenLight. We actually have 3 GreenLights, but our long-term trend is bullish, and we have at least 2 GreenLights to the right. And in this case, we are seeing the numerical value increase, so we're actually seeing good strength within this fund. So that's a good place to stay, and no reason to make any changes there. And our sector funds, we have 10% and 10% allocated. Financial services here, we're seeing 2 GreenLights and a GreenLight in the long-term trend. And we have a real estate fund allocation. We have a GreenLight and 2 GreenLights here. So we're fine with the allocation we have, so no changes to be made here. With that said, there's really nothing else to do. That's all there is to going through this. Of course, if you'd like to, you can take more time and customize it towards your investment objectives. I'm just showing you how you can use this worksheet to help you make choices within your 401k. If you'd like to get a copy of this worksheet, you can send me an email and I'll put you on our mailing list, or you can always go to the website. And let me get back here to the front page. You go to the website here, you can just click on this or just type it in to the Google search, and we'll go there, and you can always download the current copy of this worksheet from the website. If you have questions, like I said, you can email me and I'd be happy to show you how you can use this worksheet to personalize your investment choices. And also we have these different calculators at the top you can use. So a lot of resources here to make 401k a little bit more than just guesswork. That's what I've got for this week. I hope it's been helpful and has shown you some different ideas and resources to help you manage your 401k. Make some sense out of how to pick funds within there. I want to take just a moment to thank you for taking time out of your weekend to watch this, and I hope you have a great week ahead. Thank you.